Minasan, konnichiwa. Kishida and the Japanese government are considering promoting the consideration about the consideration of considering. Jokes aside, things are slow as usual, but I'm sure that all this consideration will bring us somewhere in March. The problem will be in the details. On Friday 11th of February, Nikkei Asia published Japan to let in foreign workers and students starting this month. Nikkei is a very reliable source and is where we found out in November 2021 about the previous reopening. So I think that some opening will happen from March. The question is how many of us will be able to enter this spring, and how will be the procedure, and how long will be the quarantine. Let's try to analyze the news that we got last Friday. The Nikkei article at the beginning says, the tougher border controls implemented in late November in response to the Omicron coronavirus variant are now set to end on March 1st, after multiple extensions. This is good, but it's not clear if they will remove most of the border controls or we go back to November where we had to go through a phased approach depending on the COE date, screening certificates, etc. This is not clear. The article continues saying, prior to that, the government plans to start accepting more than 1,000 people a day and gradually raise the cap to several thousand. So prior to that means February, because prior to March 1st. And as I wrote on Twitter, I think this is possible a PR stunt to calm down the negative press and pressure coming to the government about the borders. I think it's not realistic to have 1,000 new entries per day now in February. There is still no official announcement. And even when the announcement will be made, people eligible to enter in February, they still need to convert their COE, book their flight, etc. The article continues saying schools and companies will be expected to supervise travelers coming in under their sponsorship, and visitors will be asked to self-isolate after entering the country. This is good, and I hope travelers won't be forced to stay in the government hotel, because this will make more complicated entry procedure, since a bottleneck will be the number of government-sponsored rooms available. For workers, the article continues saying, the looser restrictions on business travelers will apply to both short-term business trips and long-term relocations, so long-term work visas. The government will prioritize researchers and engineers, as well as workers who provide a public benefit. Here is not clear if they refer about prioritizing now in February or from March, neither what public benefit actually means, so I guess we have to wait a few more weeks. Cutting quarantine periods, the article continues, to 3 days or less from 7 days is under consideration. To qualify travelers, both Japanese and foreign nationals will have to have received a vaccine booster and have been tested for COVID-19. The government plans to simplify the required paperwork and the screening process. This, again, on paper, reading the news seems absolutely good, but it's just under consideration and no details yet, so considering. I think we should wait for the final decision. The article ends with the entry cap on arrivals, currently set about 3,500 people, will rise when the curbs are lifted March 1st. If they increase the number of entry to 5,000 or more, will surely help many of us to enter earlier. Until now, the announcement on the reopening of the borders were done on a Friday, usually very late hours. As you've seen in my streaming, is always like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. So looking to the month of February, we have possible announcement on the 18th or the 25th of February. Be prepared. Of course, this is just a guess, and we could very possibly have an announcement on a different day. At this time, the decision on the criteria about exactly who will be able to enter from March and what the process will be for students hasn't been taken yet, but it seems the further discussion proposals will take place this week. Some of the language schools that Gogo NIHON and myself are in touch with suggested that we ask our language students to try to contact the Prime Minister Office of Japan through the URL that I write in the description to share the impact the border situation has had on them, so they have that information while they're making their final decision. As I said, there is a link in the description of this video to the Prime Minister's Office website where you can submit your requests. I will also add in the description what I suggest to write. Not just students, every category, workers, students, families, couples, interns can send it. For students only, I also link a document where you can find the address of the Ministry of Education in case you can send an actual letter with the same information. If you decide to send a letter, please make sure that it will arrive in the next few days, since it's important they receive it this week or as early as possible. We are sure that if many of you send a letter from all over the world, it will be extremely effective. But we know it may be difficult for everyone to send a letter, so please don't worry if you can't. More media have shared the results of our questionnaire the past week, and even TV shows have shown it. It has been amazing how much awareness we could raise with a simple single action like the questionnaires that you all helped filling it. Because of the great success, I'm working on a Japanese version of the questionnaire where we want to ask Japanese companies and Japanese people about how much the Japan travel ban has affected them. I also suggest that the group and categories to have similar surveys to have data to share with the media about the effect of the travel ban, since it worked so well. I want to close thanking everyone for submitting the photos this weekend. We received so many of them from many categories. Many different categories have participated, and we are working to put them together. I will update about this activity in the future. If you don't want to miss the announcement about the borders, please subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell instead of checking the news every hour, which is not good for your mental health. If you ring the notification bell on my channel, you'll be notified when the announcement comes, since probably I will go live again at that time. Hopefully it's not going to be 2 a.m. on Friday. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay positive and matane.